Hello and welcome to today's lesson. I'm your hard-working but indefatigable teacher, Mr. Burton. You will need to watch this video and take notes as you go. You may need to watch certain parts of the video a few times to ensure complete understanding. This is your homework and I will check your notes tomorrow before we get started. I hope you learned something. Okay, hello and welcome to our final installment in marketing for the term International Marketing. And our definition of international marketing is selling products in other markets than the home market or the domestic market. Globalization, our definition there, the growing trend towards worldwide markets and products, capital, labour, unrestricted by national barriers. And the world is definitely getting more globalized. Trade barriers are coming down. Capital's moving more freely around the world. People are moving more freely around the world. And trade is becoming less and less restricted by national barriers these days. Why international marketing? Well, it gives firms a larger customer base. It enables economies of scale, increased brand recognition. We're spreading risks. If one market tanks, then the business has still got other markets which they are competing in. It can extend the product life cycle. Products may last longer in some markets than others. And definitely increase sales revenue and profit. That's what it's all about. Worldwide market, more customers, more profit. Now, entry into international markets. We can do this by exporting. Exporting. Now, this can be undertaken either by selling the product directly to the foreign customer. Perhaps the order has been placed via the company's website, or indirectly through an export intermediary, an agent or a wholesaler, retailer that is trading in the company in the country. Okay, and another way, direct investment in subsidiaries. Now, company-owned subsidiaries in foreign countries can achieve higher success rates in taking over or merging locally based companies. Now, subsidiary is a business entity which is owned by the company, and that entity will be trading in the country or countries of interest. E-commerce, selling off the web, selling off the internet. Trade can be conducted with international customers online, over the internet. Access to international markets can be achieved inexpensively and little investment risk, as no physical retail outlets, warehousing or corporate headquarters need be established. A joint venture. This is different to strategic alliance. A joint venture are agreements between at least two companies, usually two, but at least two, can be more, to own and operate a new business venture. An example of this method to enter an international market is a 50-50 joint venture between McDonald's and two Indian restaurants chains, Hardcastle Restaurants and Connaught Plaza Restaurants. Strategic alliance, a little bit different to joint ventures. They are agreements between at least two companies to join forces and operate a business venture in the country. But in this instance, with a strategic alliance, no new business is formed and control is shared between the two or more parties. Mergers. This is a combining of two or more companies, generally by offering shareholders in one company securities and acquiring company in exchange for the surrendering of their stock. So basically, it's one company buying a controlling stake in another company. Acquisitions and takeovers. Now, this business will buy a controlling stake in a company that already operates in the country of interest. So, for example, the UK phone giant acquired the Indian mobile firm Essar, which ensured access to potential customer base of over 1 billion consumers. And vice versa, from India to the UK, Tata Motors of India purchased Land Rover Jaguar, and these brands now make up a sizable share of Tata Motors, that company's revenues. Franchising, international franchising. International franchising means that foreign franchisees are used to operate a firm's activities abroad, which can either take the form of one foreign company being used as a franchisee for all branches in their own country, or individual franchisees are appointed to operate each outlet. McDonald's, in this particular instance in Argentina, McDonald's just uses one franchisee business to operate all of its branches in Argentina. Licensing involves a business allowing another firm in the country being entered into to produce its branded goods or patented products under a license. And this is going to involve strictly controlled terms over quality, probably quite a few other conditions as well. And that means the goods do not have to be physically exported, which saves on time and transport costs, obviously. And if it's a food industry, it can make food products fresher too. In international licensing, the parent firm avoids the capital cost of setting up its own operating bases abroad, but the limitations of this approach include quality issues, unethical production methods may be used by the licensee to cut costs, and that will reflect badly on the business offering the license. So all are different entry methods into international markets. So what's good and what's not so good about these different methods? Direct exporting has the benefits. Selling directly via e-commerce has the benefits of online selling. The profit isn't shared with another business. And complete control of the marketing strategy rests with the exporting business. Limitations. There's no knowledge gains from businesses or partners based in international markets. Exporting business bears all the risk. There may be import tariffs imposed by governments to protect markets for products produced nationally. Tariffs being a tax on imports. International franchising. Benefits here. Usually the franchises are based in the country, which gives each franchise unit local knowledge, which can be invaluable. Franchisees contribute to the capital cost by purchasing the franchise license. Some operational issues are now the responsibility of the local franchisee and not the business abroad. Limitations. There's some loss of centralized control. Careful selection of each franchisee is essential. If you select badly, any damage to the business's brand name in one country can spread globally. Joint ventures. The benefits here, a venture partner is likely to be based in the international market being targeted, so local knowledge is going to be obtained, customs, laws, culture, etc. The capital injection, the capital required is going to be shared between the two businesses. Management responsibilities and risk is going to be shared. And it may be the only way to enter government if governments are insisting on local partners. Limitations, management problems due to clash of business cultures or personalities. Profits have to be shared. Local partners need to be chosen carefully to avoid risk of bad partners, fraud, incompetent operations, and loss of complete control of operations and marketing strategies with the joint venture. Licensing reduces the capital cost of setting up own operations. Licensee will benefit from local knowledge. However, there is a loss of control over quality and marketing strategy with the license. The profit is likely to be reduced compared to maintaining complete control and eliminating a third part in the production, marketing of products. And direct investment in subsidiaries. This gives complete control over operations of the business, which is owned and operated by the other company. Local subsidiary will have managers with local knowledge. Existing operations are going to allow quicker entry into markets, quicker than setting up new facilities, new operations, new factories, new stores, etc. Limitations. Culture clash is highly possible between the parent company and management of the subsidiary. Maybe strict local laws regarding takeovers and retrenchment of local employees. Valuation of foreign subsidiaries can be difficult. Parent company is going to avoid overpaying for local knowledge and avoid overpaying for the existing facilities. Right, opportunities and threats for international marketing. On the plus side, you develop marketing operations and expanding markets when the domestic market is saturated or mature, going back to our product life cycle. On the other hand, differences in consumer needs and wants and in usage patterns for products in international markets are going to mean increased cost of adapting products and marketing to meet these differences. On the benefit side, there's potential to increase profits through rapid sales growth and low costs of emerging markets. On the threat side, differences exist in the legal environment, some of which may conflict with those of the home market. Businesses are going to need specialist and costly legal information and advice. Another opportunity is that poor tradings in the home market, perhaps due to the entry of new rivals, means that international markets can allow sales to grow despite increased competition. Threat though, growth of the counterfeit and grey market in international markets, either copies of branded products or sales through unauthorised channels. And we know at the moment this is big in Asia with China, Vietnam, etc. Counterfeits, fakes, copies are all too common. Another opportunity is that economies of scale. So you grow big enough, you're producing enough, you're selling enough, that the cost per unit of output that you're producing decreases. So economies of scale in production and marketing, increased sales going to result in lower unit cost of production. Marketing similar products in similar ways should reduce the average cost of promotion. Pan-global marketing. Now this is adopting a standardized product across the globe as if the whole world was a single market. That is in fact selling the same goods in the same way everywhere. And the advantages of this is a common identity for the product can be established, which aids consumer recognition in a highly globalized world. On the downside, despite growing similarity between consumer tastes in different countries, it may still be necessary to develop different products to suit cultural variations. Cost reduction can be substantial. Lower costs is going to increase profits. The same product can be produced for all markets, allowing substantial economies of scale, especially important for firms with high and significant research and development costs. On the other side, legal variations can vary substantially between countries. For example, there may be restrictions on what can be advertised to whom and when. So for example, in those beautiful Scandinavian countries, you cannot market junk food at children. On the plus side, it recognises the differences between consumers in different countries are reducing and are likely to continue to reduce into the future. On the threat side, setting the same price in all countries is going to fail to take into account different average income levels that exist. Now, globalization in international marketing. Globalization, our definition there, is a growing trend towards worldwide markets and products, capital and labour unrestricted by national barriers. Now this is going to have an impact on strategy. Increased international trade as barriers to trade are reduced. The growth of multinational businesses in all countries as there is greater freedom for capital to be invested from one country to another. Freer movement of workers between countries, so an American company can transfer staff over to China, over to India, over to the UK, over to European countries. Multinational companies, we define these as being businesses that have operations in more than one country. Now, the benefits of globalization is there's going to be greater opportunity for selling goods in other countries, opening up new markets which may not have reached saturation, and this should lead to increased sales and profitability. On the other hand, businesses from other countries now have freer access to the domestic market, so competition there is going to be increased. Non-internationally competitive firms will likely lose market share. On the plus side, globalization, increased competition gives firms an incentive to become more internationally competitive. Inefficient firms can no longer hide behind trade barriers. But on the other hand, the drive for international competitiveness will also be forcing other firms to become more efficient to maintain price competitiveness. Pan-global marketing strategies, as a plus, can be used to create a global brand identity. And that's going to save on the cost of different markets, different products. But international marketing can lead to significant transport and communication problems. The risk of unethical behaviour by managers increases with delegated authority dictated by distance. It's very hard to supervise operations in India when your company is headquartered in the US. Okay, on the plus side, there's going to be a wider choice of locations, the opportunities to set up operations in other countries and become a multinational. Lower costs and direct access to local markets should result in increased sales, increased profitability. Now, pan-global strategies can fail to consider the cultural and taste differences between consumers of different nations. Firms may need to adopt a more expensive localization marketing strategy, localization being the tailoring of the products to suit the local market. On the plus side, globalization provides greater freedom to arrange mergers and takeovers and joint ventures with firms from other nations as restrictions on foreign ownership are reduced. On the negative, businesses are now increased risk of being taken over themselves. Also, increased activity from anti-globalization pressure groups can result in bad publicity for multinationals, especially those guilty of unethical practices. Gap, we're looking at you. American Apparel. Environmental and labour exploitation can become big news, very damaging to companies.